I'm Phil Hodgkinson, and you're listening to...
And he takes that chance! The fairy tale season has the happiest ending!
Welcome to episode 49 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Town decimated and desecrated. Ashton Gate limp into the first West Yorkshire derby of the season. Here to discuss the fallout from that defeat and look forward to the games against Leeds and Charlton, I'm Matt, and with me we have Kosi Bear, and fresh from winning the Izzy Quizzy at Radio Leeds yesterday, I've got Mr. Neil Wayne with me. Congratulations, Neil, on the only thing I think Town will win this season.
It's a nice trophy as well. It's a really nice trophy.
Fantastic. I think the trophy really was the best name that he came up with. The Clayton Cup was rubbish. I was hoping there'd be some kind of Rob Green comment in there, but never mind. For those of us who don't know what we're on about straight away, it's the West Yorkshire Derby special on Radio Leeds, which is available, which Neil took part in yesterday with Oggy and a couple of chesties. So, and of course, this episode is sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing of Willow Lane in Birkby. So, thanks again to Magic Rock, our sponsors. And if you ever do pop along to Magic Rock, please bear in mind that they do take donations for the Welcome Centre. There's 2 blue bins at the very start, and they'll be very happy with any food donations or warm clothing. It's coming up, and it'll be put to very good use. So thanks again to Magic Rock for sponsoring the podcast. We'll go to Bristol City, Bristol 5, Huddersfield 2. A painful one. One thing I've noticed under the Cowleys, and it's not necessarily a criticism, it is that we are slow starters. And I think when we start slowly, Neil, and a team come at us like Preston did, like Bristol did, away from home, we seem very brittle. Mentally, we're not very well equipped, and we seem to be one of those sides that grows into a game as it goes on. And to be fair, Bristol's first goal was a bit lucky, but it was coming. The second goal, Congolo's probably foul, but he should have dealt with that a lot better. And all of a sudden, through your own ineptitude, you're staring up a big hill early on.
I feared for us as soon as I saw the team at 2 o'clock. You saw the fullbacks that were lining up, and, well, O'Brien actually started left back, didn't he? But that Congolo and Adejanai were in. They both got the hearts of mice this season, and in a game like that, it's always tough at Bristol. We never do particularly well there. Not since a James Vaughan hat-trick many moons ago. I think that was the last time we did out there.
It's the last time I've been to Bristol.
But as soon as I saw them two, and I think this is going to be a long day, and then obviously early goal. I think they did another one disallowed straight away, pretty much.
Yeah, Grabara dropped one, but he was offside, wasn't
he? And then it was just only a matter of time, and the fact that we pulled it back and then managed to let them score again straight away just about summed us up, to be fair.
Diabolical goal, that third from our view.
Yeah, awful. I mean, the things went against us. Congolo and Flo started, not great. Losing Fraser Campbell inside a minute was a disaster, because that's all your game plan, gone straight away.
That's your foothold in the final third.
Absolutely. And, you're replacing him with another one with the heart of a mouse, and it was going to be a long afternoon.
So from mice to men, Richard Kosmala, you had a lovely trip. I'm more interested to hear about your reacquaintance with old friends, actually. And you've done a blog article, which you can read on our website, Takes That Chance, about your experiences in Germany. You were in Germany this weekend. You saw Schalke, Cologne as it is to English people, and another game, didn't you, which escapes me at the minute. Freiburg
yeah, just
and
about
somebody.
warmed up. Borussia Mönchengladbach, yeah. I suppose it might be one for another time, but incredible... emotional, really, especially to go to Schalke on the Friday night.
You've got the hat on, for those who can't see. You've got a Schalke hat on.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of people who support Dortmund, I think, who listen to this, so that's not going to go on too well. Big rivals, really, and that as well. Obviously, never been to Germany before. Heard a lot about the football culture, and it really delivered. But yeah, the first game was Schalke, 61,000 there, so huge club, amazing stadium. I think it was the stadium when England played Portugal in the penalties. Yeah, when Ronaldo and the wink and what have you, and we lost in that as well. But wow, it's just rocking and rolling there. David Wagner's got it going. They're playing. It's just like with us, front foot football. No real stars. played Team Union Berlin. They were kind of mid-table and that as well. They come back into the game. Berlin equalised, and then Schalke got a goal with like 5 minutes to go, and the bench went absolutely nuts. But
it looked great, yeah.
To see Bueller as well on the sidelines, quite emotional really, and that as well. It was I don't know about a bit of closure, but the fan base, everything. You do. I think you walked away thinking, obviously, if he'd not done what he'd done with us, it was like, he would never have got obviously that job. And after the article, I've had quite a few Schalke fans kind of tweet me and that as well, saying great article, and one even said they're going to come to watch Huddersfield to see what it's like there. I thought,
Give it a while, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a little while and that as well. But yeah, it's probably for a pod another time. But German football culture, beer served to your seat, stewards treating you like kings, free transport to the ground, amazing atmospheres, great away support, noise for 90 minutes. Bundesliga retweeted my tweet, well. The official Bundesliga account, compare that to La Liga, who got me banned from Twitter. Everything's about a great fan experience and that as well. And people try and make your day special there, where I think sometimes in English grounds it's trying to put, blocks and...
You're almost an unwanted customer, aren't you, in some ways?
Obviously, all the hype, but believe you me, I mean... Quite a few, obviously, listen who've been to Germany, but get yourself over there and just enjoy. It's incredible. This is called Veltins Arena, is Schalke, so Veltins is the beer, and the people with trolleys just like selling massive bottles, like full bottles of lager, not the little ones, but like almost like 3 pints worth just for €1. It's incredible. So it's a massive drink culture. That kind of hit me for six, that a little bit, because...
It suit you though, yeah?
What, sorry?
It'll suit you though, yeah?
Yeah. They had like really weird as well. Kind of just about 5 minutes walk from their ground, they have like training ground complex, all their pitches and everything, and a similar kind of canal side set up as was. So a lot of people in there watching. They kind of put a Bundesliga 2 game on before, a bit like sometimes, like with us when they have the game before the Premier League game, and everybody's watching that, pints. I mean, I love an hot dog. No one loves an hot dog more than me in the world, and everywhere you went, it were like Bockwurst and Bratwurst. It were just heaven. Chips. I didn't realise this pommes frites, what they did there. It's just, this looks intriguing. It's just chips with like mayonnaise, ketchup. Feed me with hot dogs and chips. Ale for €1. Free transport to games. 61,000. Our old manager and an old assistant on the sidelines. It's in heaven, really.
Sounds like might need a cardiologist after all of that as well.
Yeah.
So.
Keep an eye on Schalke, though. It's incredible. Bayern Munich having a bit of a wobble.
They were joint top, weren't they, after that game on the Friday night? They were joint top, which... I think everyone who's a town fan will want Bueller and Wagner to do well.
Cologne were ace. I mean, I don't really follow much of Bundesliga stuff, many players, but they had John Joe Kenny. I don't know if you remember him at Everton. He's on loan from Everton. Yeah. He's the kind of English. Everyone else I didn't, really knew. And even in the other games, no one kind of stood out. Cologne was fantastic. They all have their own anthems, a bit like we have a Smile a While, and you come out to the pitch, that spectacular sight. It really is. Cologne were fantastic. And but after the game, it was quite funny, really. So we went in sports bar. Bayern Munich were playing Leverkusen after. Packed sports bar. Bayern Munich are hated a bit. I don't know.
They're a bit like Man United, maybe.
Yeah, definitely, and that as well. So everybody were cheering on Leverkusen. They actually beaten Leverkusen. It was an incredible game. They
2-1, was it? Yeah.
5 times Bayern Munich. I've never seen anything like it. But there's beer flying everywhere. Like Cologne fans that had just come on. It's just one big party. Just people don't want to go home. And then next day went to Mönchengladbach. That was kind of it's not a bit of a disservice, but 50,000 arena. It's a bit like in Doncaster, really. It's kind of in the bit of it's called Borussia Park, so in the middle of a park. I made the mistake getting there 4 hours early. It was just about 0 degrees. There were no bars anywhere, so you had to stand outside freezing like a fan zone. And but again, that was amazing. And Mönchengladbach goal. It's just brilliant, honestly. Just keep your eye on Schalke as well. And it was interesting. Gabriel Bueller, is that?
Gabrielle Bueller, wife. Yeah,
is that wife? Right. Okay, I thought it might be his daughter. Sorry, but she would in touch during the game, and there's so much to love about it and that as well. But I kind of walked away there really. I was chuffed that they won, chuffed that I've been there, but kind of a bit sad that it's you look back on it, won't you? You probably look back in 30, 40 years thinking he was like the Bill Shankly of our time, really, wasn't he, David Wagner? And when they scored the goal, to see the bench, everyone was up. There was no one sat down. I'm talking like with all the
team
coaches
spirit,
there,
like we had
20, 30. And it's acceptable there. No one cares. Both in every game that I went to,
that
people were going nuts.
About when it all kicked off, when he did it against Derby and did it against
Leeds.
Leeds.
He didn't get it, did he?
No. And that sort of proves that is his culture, that is what he does. It wouldn't.
So you contrast that to when we drew at Chelsea, and Wagner's He's kind of like walking with sort of straight arms, tensed because he knows he can't run around like an idiot.
And I don't think he wanted to commit then either, did he?
No, he's just like walking around like a
others
robot.
the Derby and Leeds one were both last minute jobs, weren't they? So he knew pretty much.
I'll tell you what, for this is a little of a weird one. So at Cologne, I'm sure there's a town fan who went there. I'm sure it's either a sheep or a lamb who their nickname is. So the lamb.
It's David Shaw, Goose.
Is it a goose? Yeah. Is it? Right. So you're watching the game, and all of a sudden, you'll just be watching the game, and this noise will go, meh. So like just having a loudspeaker, and then it means look at the scoreboard. So then the scores come on. So like there's been a goal somewhere, so everyone goes woo. So like I don't know with ours.
It's a bit weird that.
I've noticed that in Spain a few times. So it goes ding ding, and you're thinking what's it on about? Mönchengladbach are really weird. They had like this Santa Claus come on. He went ho ho ho, and then the next thing you're looking up and there's been a goal at I don't know somewhere else. I thought it quite clever that because you'd never really look at a scoreboard, would you? Because like for example in the South Stand But obviously you need to have something on there. But the half-time, they had like the highlights on and the games and everything, even showed you the VAR decisions. It's just like, it's football how it's meant to be, where you're treated well.
Imagine showing fans VAR decisions.
Oh. They did it at half-time though, after it had finished though, not as it went and stuff and that as well. But yeah, it was incredible really. And I was talking to some Man City fans on the plane after, they were like unbelievable. And they were saying that they can't remember the Cologne. They did the same games as me. They couldn't remember the Cologne game. They were so drunk. They went to Schalke. They didn't stop over like I did. They drunk through it. Got a train back 3 a.m. to Cologne, then just carried on drinking. Went to Cologne. Crazy. But they said honestly, I'd swap my City season ticket for one in Germany because they just love the experience. But yeah, probably preaching some of the converted. But keep your eye on Schalke. Can they do it? And he's playing it down, it's Wagner, but it's a story. And because they were nowhere near last year,
we all hope they do it.
Definitely. So yeah, it's.
I think me and Neil are coming next time. You've sold that very well, so I think me and Neil are with you next time.
But
we'll have to marry you off to someone. We'll have to go on RussianBrides.com and marry you off so we can have a impromptu stag do in Germany or something.
God, going back to town though, I think it's knocked a bit of something out of me.
We have to.
Yeah, the Preston, and all of a sudden now it's 4 out of win, 2 massive heavy defeats. Swansea game I thought was all right. Obviously we had a bit of a disagreement, you and sure it was, and
second half was. First half was
Birmingham blow it. So all of a sudden it's amazing, and it's like if we'd have say drawn on Saturday, whatever, it's like 3 unbeaten. But now all of a sudden it's 4 out of win, and Leeds riding into town. As soon as I heard, I've just seen the goals. Congolo,
Hadajinai on the third as well. How easily he gets beaten. It's just.
I think what makes it worse for me, Jack Hunt running right. What's he done with his hair, by the way? What an absolute tool. But Greg Sherrard done it. Someone like you won't mind if it were a top class winger like what Leeds have got with Jack Hunt. He were ripping as a new one. There were no one chasing back, putting any blocks in to stop crosses and stuff. Obviously
that's why on Saturday you can't start with either of them. They need players, whatever level they're at town. They need players who actually care on Saturday.
I think it's becoming very clear that a Cowley Huddersfield Town team needs to have incredible discipline. First and foremost, it's not too dissimilar to a Wagner side in that first and foremost you need to work hard. You need to do the hard yards, and anybody who doesn't want to work hard is going to be out as quickly as possible. And what we'll do is we'll loop in the Cowley interview now from Radio Leeds. So I haven't asked permission to do this, so thank you, Radio Leeds, and listen to their stuff. I'm sure they'll be fine with it. But it's a really great interview from Oggy and Cowley. And for the first time, really, he's less political in a lot of his answers, and he's not a happy chappy.
Danny Cowley, that was difficult from the sidelines, I must confess. What was it like from the technical area?
Yeah, no easier. Chasing experience. Didn't start well for us, losing Fraser Campbell. One of our good men. Probably haven't got enough good men. And when you lose one of them, it doesn't make it easy. But listen, I'm not going to hide behind injuries and suspensions. When you represent Huddersfield Town, you have to show the qualities that the club and certainly the supporters deserve. And I thought we come up well short today.
And it's not as if you won't have warned the players beforehand. Yourself and Nicky, I'm sure Danny will have warned the squad about Elias and the power of Jeju and all the things that Bristol had. There was a kind of slowness about Town's reaction in the first half.
Yeah, Bristol City are a good team and we were well aware of that. but we didn't defend anywhere near well enough to get a successful outcome from this game. I thought we were well short just in our 1v1 duels. I thought we were second best. Didn't stop crosses. Every time the ball came in our box, lost our man, let our opponent get the better of us physically, and that makes it very, very difficult. You know, I thought it went beyond football though. Really, it's about good men, and you know we have got some key injuries and key suspensions, and we haven't got enough good men in the squad. But you know, be a good man, be honest, be hard-working, be trustworthy, be determined, be reliable. To me, that's what a good man is, and I've been involved in a lot of successful teams that have had good men, and we were well short of them today. And we take some time now to reflect and look back and decide as human beings what we stand for, because the players have to do that, and we as staff have to do that. You know, you go away, have a look at yourself, decide who you want to be, what you stand for, how you want to be judged, and make sure that the way you behave and the way you conduct yourself allows people to see you for what you are. And yeah, that has been my message to the players.
Which is a big kind of statement from Danny, even in the short time that you've had this squad. You're asking at basic level what kind of values you've got within the squad to work with in the future. Do you sense from that kind of performance today that you would have to make big changes in the long term?
I think it's for everybody to see, isn't it? You know, this club has been where it's been for the period of time it's been. There's a lot of things wrong. There's no hiding place from that. And people make dressing rooms, people make football clubs, and you need good men. And we didn't have enough good men today. And for everyone that was there, listen, I'm not into public hangings. I don't think that that's the right way to go about things. I don't think that that's going to help the football club going forward. Certainly not in the short term. But come on, if you were here today, you'd know.
Take us through some of the fine detail during the match, Danny. You changed the shape. You changed the personnel and positions in the first half. Just let us in on the thinking behind that.
Yeah, we obviously went into the game without any fullbacks. We'd lost Trevor Chalobah on Wednesday, so we're short in midfield as well. Terence has played at left back and found it really, really difficult as our only left-footed defender. So we tried to protect him by playing him centrally and playing Lewis to the left. Yona's obviously played as a 6 quite a few times in his career before, and also in the Premier League. But listen, there's too many square pegs in round holes. You know, I feel sorry for people like Lewis O'Brien because, you know, after 15, 20 minutes, we tried to get a bit more energy into midfield and move Lewis into midfield to give us that energy, and moved Terence to left back. But he got murdered. Made it so difficult for him. He just can't defend the inside space. And it's very tough. You know, I've never known a squad as unbalanced as this one, and I think unfortunately when it was unbalanced, which we knew when we arrived, you then pick up key injuries to good men, to really good men, and then an unnecessary suspension on Tuesday, and it just makes it very tough and very difficult, and there's no hiding place from that. I think we've done well to this point, particularly in the last 2 games in terms of level of performance. But today, I think, if we're honest, it was a game too far. Particularly, you know, when you consider And it's hard because I'm angry at the moment, so I don't really want to make excuses for them. But if you look at the good men, the Jon Stankovic, he's come from nowhere to play 3 games in a week. Today looked like a game too far for him. You played Lewis O'Brien 3 times out of position in a week as a young player in his first season in the Championship. Fraser Campbell, he's a 30 plus playing in the 9 position. Carries so much fight for us, but to do that, back that up 3 times in a week, particularly coming from injury as well, was a lot. We've got Steve Mounier and Alex Pritchard that I can only really use from the bench in an emergency. So, and certainly I couldn't use them. From Fraser got injured, I can't bring Steve on because he's wouldn't be ready to finish the game. And Pritch, we might have risked for a cameo in the last 30, but ultimately that is where we're at. And our job is to motivate the players, to organise the players tactically, to try to find the best way of playing with the players that we have at our disposal. If I had a magic wand, then I'd invent and create players, because that's what we need to do, because we're just so short in so many key areas. But it is what it is, and like I said, I don't want to hide behind those reasons really, because we picked 11 people today, and you're a professional footballer. They get absolutely pampered. They get looked after like you'd never imagine. They come down yesterday by plane. You look at our supporters; they'd have worked all week, grafted to earn the money to then come and support their team. They would have then travelled 6 hours in the car to get to here today, and we're clapping them at the end, and they're singing. And you know what? I feel ashamed. And we all have to live with that. To go away, we have to take a long, hard look at ourselves, and we have to live with that pain.
Have you shared that feeling with the players, if I may ask, Danny, in the dressing room?
Yeah, we've spoken. We'll take some time to reflect. The players are clear. I'm their best friend. I always tell them. I tell them the truth. They have a lot of people around them. They have a lot of entourage that only tell them what they want to hear. And sometimes, as a consequence of that, some of them get a wrong reflection of who they actually are, and the type of person they're being. And I see it as my job to tell them the truth and deal in the truth and live in the truth. And if they play well, I tell them. I'm the first to tell them. But likewise, if they come up short like they have done today, I tell them, because I owe them that, and I won't be one of these people that. And they have to look at themselves, and they have to decide who's giving them good information and who's not, and they have to make those decisions as human beings. And my advice to all of them is to get the very best people around you, giving you the best advice, not just the advice, and not just telling you the things you want to hear, because it's very hard particularly for young people in this profession. Very difficult.
Just so that we understand your selection from the start, Danny, I'm sure you'll understand this, but there was some disappointment from fans that Alex Pritchard wasn't in the starting lineup, but clearly there were compelling reasons for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we would have loved to have played Alex. But he played 2 games back-to-back, Saturday to Tuesday. Felt his calf after he'd come off on Tuesday night. Run an incredible amount of distance at high intensity in both games. And we managed to get him back on the grass today, but it would have been suicidal of us to play him. He would have broken down and we'd have injured him long term. So, you have to unfortunately try to protect the player. I think it's always to be player-centred. It certainly wasn't ideal because we had to change the personnel and change the shape and then make more, another 2 changes to the back line. So it wasn't ideal, but again, they're excuses.
How serious is Fraser Campbell's injury?
We'll have to wait and see. It was we can't decide at the moment whether there was quite a heavy contact into the back of his glute, so it looks a contact injury. But we'll have to wait and see.
How much did he get out of watching Josh Koroma in a championship match, and Matty Daly even gave some game time too at the end?
Yeah, I was pleased for Josh because I think Josh hasn't had it easy since I've been here. I've just wanted to get him playing and fighting and in a certain way, and I've tried to really, we've all tried to really affect his behaviours without the ball. It was great actually. In the first minute he lost it and then got straight after it and won it back, and I thought he did really well. And it's, you know, being honest, at that time when the team's in the position it's in, you worry about bringing young players on because you worry about the effect it can have on them long term. But ultimately we didn't have many options, and I'm pleased we did bring him on because I thought he did great and he'll take a lot from that. And listen, I need trustworthy, reliable humans, and he's one of them. That's the truth. He's a kid who wants to learn and wants to do well, and they're the people that we like to work with.
So, Neil, we've just listened to that. Danny Cowley goes on about not enough good men. One of them, it seems quite obvious, is Adama Diakhaby, who was subbed on for Campbell and then subbed off around half-time. And Stephen Chicken's done a bit of an article savaging him in the Examiner, quite rightly, for not tracking back, and it's it looks like he's the one who's supposed to be tracking Jack Hunt, and on a number of goals he just stops, and the first goal he stops, doesn't block, and they get the lucky deflection. But if you're doing your job and working hard and disciplined, you block that, and it's just, you can feel his frustration, can't you? Is what I'm trying to get at there.
I think we had a bit of a false dawn with Diakhaby. I think we all got a bit excited that he put in 2 or 3 okay performances. And okay performances from what we previously had were exceptional to get to okay.
I just pose something to you, and then I'll wind you up and let you go on this one. But usually when a new manager comes in, I hate football cliches, and honeymoon period is one which is just, you kind of roll your eyes at a bit. But we've had the Cowleys in for a short while now, and you saw that immediate improvement. Diakhaby was one who did quite well. A few others have done quite well. Are we now seeing players revert to type like they were under Jan Ziva? Are they now? Can they no longer put a mask on and pretend to be something they're not?
I think that applies to a couple, but I think the ones that I mentioned before, Adejanai, Kongolo, there's nothing slipped there this season. They've been bad all season, regardless of what manager. Yeah, so. Diakhaby, maybe a little bit of a false dawn, like I said. He'd stepped up from being dreadful to okay, and because he'd been that bad before, okay was
dangerous, wasn't he? To be fair,
his
end product still wasn't there. Yeah,
very fleetingly. As soon as he came on Saturday, 90 minutes of Diakhaby and Kongolo and Flo away at Bristol. It was never going to end well, that. It was never going to end well. And I think Danny Cowley's comments after, I were really happy to hear him, to be honest. I were really happy that he'd actually come out and, without actually giving names.
Not like Jan Ziva. Jan made the mistake of going too hard too early, didn't he, and naming names.
But I think I'm really happy because he's had this since he's walked through the door. His interview on Saturday isn't a result of the Bristol City game. His interview on Saturday is a result of what he's seen since he walked in the door. There's no doubt about that.
But his post-match press conference, I've got some stuff here in that as well. He's clapped the 800 visiting fans at the end of the game. He says, we were clapping them. I felt ashamed. I actually felt ashamed. We live in a world where we get absolutely pampered. We flew down. Beautiful hotel. The chef come with us. We get treated like kings.
Chef cock.
And yet we get treated like kings, and yet they would have grafted all week to earn the money to come and support us. They were a credit to their club, and we, as staff and players, have to take a long, hard look in the mirror. It's absolute dynamite when you see them down on in national papers, like kind of on Monday. But it's the fans are 100% behind him, aren't we? And that as well. I know some people have raised their eyebrows to Decat's that, but we've all had enough, haven't we?
You can.
No, he's had to inherit that. It's not. Yeah. If it's a bit different, I think if he'd bought the players in and then he's getting that, then maybe not. But I just think it needed it. And
The talks about how imbalanced the squad is as well is really telling what he thinks to what's gone on as well over the last sort of year or so as well, isn't it, Neil?
It's an accumulation. It's come to a head, and it's first time that we've actually heard a manager come out, well, since he's come in and Biz sort of forthright. I think he's done the classic manager bits before, try to defend them and playing out of position, being out injured a while, this, that and other. But
I felt ashamed. I actually felt ashamed. Listen to them words, man. That is absolute...
It's gold.
Gold.
It's absolute gold. And thing is, it's true.
It's not false passion either.
No,
He's not playing up. He
no.
feels it, doesn't he? You can see his
no,
feeling.
and he didn't do it in a really sort of demonstrative kind of way. He did it looking completely and utterly fed up, and
I think
the fact that he were embarrassed to go out in front of our fans and clap them when they were giving him so much back after they've travelled there and got stuffed.
I think what gives, that he's got his finger on the pulse after the Brentford game when we were going absolutely wild, weren't we? What a win and everything, and the big kind of German wave and whatever, he came back. But I remember his interview after, and he says, we're getting there. There's still not everyone on the same page. He was still saying it after that. So these poor results and performances have not kind of clouded it since. He was saying it. He knows what he's doing. He knows the players. It's the big question is this week. It's going to be fascinating because if we're miles off Leeds, let's be honest, 22 points. It's not even, we've just started December. It's absolutely embarrassing. 22 points behind them. Now, people are going to say, yeah, derby game and it evens it out. But you need 11 people. So rowing in the same direction, I think, for that. We haven't got that. So, it was interesting seeing quite a few tweets of the players after I saw one from Kachunga and Grant, almost kind of, they were apologising and we're going to work hard and stuff like that. And that them two guys will probably double their work ethics, but will Congolo, will Adesina, they should be nowhere near the team.
That's why when we rock up Saturday,
we don't want to see them.
I'll be delighted to see Karoma start, Matty Daly get a shirt. And yeah, we're up against arguably the best football side in the division, and it could really backfire and get absolutely hammered. But I would genuinely prefer that than to see those so-called senior pros, or international footballers, by the way. I'd much prefer to see those young lads in than those struck and be completely half-arsed about it all.
Yeah, I think that's a scary thing. We've just not got everyone on the same page. And one thing I really hate about football, and that I want to see people trying to stop crosses, block crosses, charge in on people, don't let them have an easy ball in the box. And Saturday, there were just people running riot. Either side, take your pick with crosses. It was embarrassing in that as well. And God, when you kind of watch the highlights, Grant scored. He had another great chance with that header. Should have buried it. In fact, that were easier than the goal and that as well. I go. We don't look too bad going forward, but the discipline, at the back defensively, it's just discipline to stay in shape and things like that.
The one saving grace we have got a minute is we do score a goal. We have got a goal in us with them, and it's going to be Grant.
Only from one or two, ain't you?
That's up though, Diakabi. I'm surprised. I mean, I wasn't there and only seen highlights, but Diakabi on a bit of a strange one. It's not exactly like for like. I know there's not many options, but odd one that, wasn't it?
I'd have been tempted to throw Mounier on, to be honest, just to get a foothold. I understand why he doesn't.
And he keep Grant and his graft out left-hand side there as well.
Yeah, at the same... We'll come on to Leeds properly and Charlton shortly, but I'd be tempted... If Campbell's not fit, I'd be tempted more to go Mounier. And because what you get with Kachunga and Grant is not only do you get... Maybe not so much this season with Kachunga, but not only do you get the goals coming from them, but you get the hard work as well. You get the effort, you get the tracking back, you get everything you want from them, you get honesty. The integrity of both of them can't be questioned. And in games against the teams in the top 6, 7, you can't have people who might track back once, then not bother, might not. It just doesn't work, and you'll get.
We're not comparing positions here, but you give me 11 guys with Kachunga's attitude over 11 guys with Congolo's attitude. We both know the relative football ability of both.
We won't be on any points if we had 11 Congolos at the minute.
No. So,
but anyway, tell you what, Neil. Before we move over into other things. So Bristol, not good. None of us were particularly
garbage.
Yeah.
Done. We played anyone decent. We've been nowhere near, have we? Nowhere near.
You say that, but I think Brentford are a decent side. They're up in 6 now,
yeah.
and I think
I suppose Swansea on paper.
There's bits in there.
Yeah,
There's half a game at West Brom.
I think the problem is, I think mentally we are fragile, really fragile. I think Elphick is a huge miss in that. He's a leader. He's strong. I think Schindler's a great. I love Schindler, but he needs a voice next to him. The best you get out of Schindler when he's got somebody talking next to him, like a Heffler or a Zanka even. And you've noticed when Congolo's next to him or Stankovic, you don't quite see the same player. Stankovic is similar to Schindler. He's a quiet player. He lets himself get pushed around a bit too much so far. He'll improve, but I think the point I'm trying to make anyway is that Elphick and Danny Simpson are a big miss at the minute, and their leadership and going to places like Bristol, Brentford, you need your Elphicks and your Simpsons to stand up and lead, and we just don't have them at the minute, and we are what we are, aren't we, at the end of the day? So what we'll do, Neil, is we'll have a community update from you. We've decided to make this monthly, haven't we? Because you get a more concise and quality update.
People don't need to worry about it every week. It's the same thing, but there's two very different things this week for the community stuff. Huddersfield Street Kitchen has been going a year and 2 weeks this week, which is some achievement.
Happy birthday to Jessica. Yeah.
On the first week of our second year, last weekend, we actually got a visit from Kirklees Council coming to do an environmental health check on us to make sure that we were food safe.
You enjoy their visits, don't you?
We smashed it.
Excellent.
Absolutely smashed it. They went away with a glowing report, and for something that's done on market stalls in the open air once a week with people who aren't sort of catering background trained, they're just purely volunteers coming out and giving us their own art, we are going to get a very, very, very good score back. They haven't sent us it through yet, but they've told us it's going to be better than a lot of food establishments that currently serve and charge a lot of money in Huddersfield.
It's the food hygiene rating that so you get 1 to 5, isn't it? Yeah.
So they've told it's going to come back very, very high. Awesome. And for something that is the street kitchen, how it's done, etc.
It's on the street.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, so to get a good hygiene rating on a street is great work.
So it's we are absolutely delighted with that. Also, the Andy's Man Club this week, everyone will have seen me banging it about everywhere. But on Saturday, it is the Andy's Man Club Awareness Day at the Town Leeds game. The club very kindly asked me earlier in the season if we wanted one and which game I'd like. I gave them a couple of options of basically when we're playing a team, we've also got an Andy's Man Club in their town or city. So the first one that came up that was doable was this Saturday. I was delighted to get Leeds. I generally didn't think we would, just the nature of the game and things that have happened in the past outside and what have you. But we've got a load of lads coming over from Leeds AMC to join us. So there'll be 20 odd of us in total, surrounding the ground, giving out flyers, talking to people who want to know more about it. Obviously, the LED stuff goes on sort of half a dozen times while you're in the ground. And
where will you be for the stands?
I'll be based outside the main entrance pretty much. We've got a gazebo up there, so it'll be full of banners and this and other. So if anyone wants to come and have a natter, come and say hello. Rest of the guys will spread them out around the ground to get people as they're going into various turnstiles. And then also, weather permitting, hopefully it stays dry. The Andy's Man Club football team will be playing a five-a-side on the pitch at half-time against a team from the Huddersfield Town Foundation. So that'll be another great bit of awareness. And obviously with it being live on Sky, I'm really hoping that the Sky lads do it where they normally do it in the bottom corner, because that's where we'll all be. So fingers crossed. But yeah, the club have been absolutely amazing with us and helping us arrange this day. Massive shout out to Robin Kennedale, Rachel Taylor and Mr. Andy Booth, who've been flying emails back there and forth. Sue Beaumont's helped us out with tickets and car parking and whatever else, and just brilliant, really helpful to get this on for us. So yeah, massively appreciated, and hopefully it'll go really well.
Awesome.
But Leeds are getting it straight to Moy again, who shoots. What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Okay, happier memory there of a West Yorkshire derby. Kosi, I'm going to hand over to you now. You've been on Twitter, haven't you? Gauging opinions. So we'd love to hear from everybody on Twitter. So thank you very much to everybody who's sent a tweet in to get involved. It's not always possible to read everything out, but we do appreciate the level of communication that comes in from you guys. So thank you again.
We'll talk about Leeds game first, but we'll do it in two bits. I'll send a tweet asking for people's memories of the best and worst moments against Leeds. So we'll come to that in a bit. But obviously Saturday, 22 points, as I mentioned earlier, between the two teams. So I kind of said, what has to change in our eyes? Didn't get many responses, to be honest, which probably says a lot about people's expectations, really, and that as well.
Do you mean more to Leeds or more to like the top of the league?
No, what do we have to do to get anywhere near them, really, and that as well? Probably could have phrased it better, but...
Because it's not going to happen this season, is it, in reality?
No, I didn't mean in the 20 points, but almost to get near them on Saturday.
Right, okay.
So Terrier 7-2 says, I don't think much can change until January. I'd rather just play the likes of Reece Brown and Karma, etc. At least they will show some fight.
There's some good jokes that because he meant Karoma, didn't
he?
And
then someone
said it's his nan
Karoma.
playing. Yeah.
I have chubby fingers on a small keyboard. Darlow Terrier says, replace Kachunga.
No, not for me. I think Kachunga's got to play. I think he does the hard work.
I'd want to see him.
We're not going to have a lot of the ball on Saturday, and Kachunga's...
That's what we just said before, pure graft he plays.
Ross Clayton, show desire, work rate and passion by all 11 players. Without that, we will get absolutely tonked. Jacob Rogers, if we can ship out the obvious players in January, replace with quality passion, then who knows what kind of run we can go on. But until January, I think it's going to be quite bad. Jim Rushworth, don't think anyone's thinking of bridging the gap. Nobody's that hopeful, surely. It's a relegation battle for us. This one, Jedgman, I think it is Slam Dance Cosmo, right? And all that, yeah. Get rid of those who don't want to be here and allow Cowley to bring in blooded EFL players in their mold.
I think that answers both your short and long term as well, because we don't want people on Saturday who aren't committed to the cause, and you don't want them for the rest of the season as well. So I think that's very much a short, medium and long term.
Again, people are mentioning where does Pritchard fit. Andrew Johnson is an interesting one with a proven goal scorer up top. The one thing you can want is someone who can pick him out. And Pritch fits that bill perfectly. His performance were in the three best performances winning the three with Moy and Hogg. Hogg winning the ball and Moy picking Pritchard out. O'Brien can do that. Sam Dean's consistent and organised defence. Injuries have made that a nightmare. We're just getting this sorted. I think, Neil, that's important to remember that, innit? Because you can kind of look at it now thinking it's been chaos, but it did seem as though it were getting there. Brentford, I thought we were solid as a rock, and obviously after that it's been a disaster. Preston with the two injuries, and we've never really recovered. Really, you take the experience out, and we're just novices, really, aren't we?
Yeah, complete.
Anthony O'Neill, the only thing we can do is pray we don't get stuffed too much until we can sort that defence up. But Kevin Bowman, a bit more positive. Simple, we must win, which I suppose brings us on to the game now. It's always weird with a derby game because apart from obviously the one before when we were with Monk, we were both going for it. I think we've both before been I think mostly we've been down there as the underdog, and Leeds have kind of been above us, and it always felt like, this is kind of our season, really. The last time it was just a stepping stone, and obviously we did both games brilliantly and got the 6 points on that as well. But this one, that sounds really bad, but we haven't played him for a few seasons, but I can't get up for it, Neil. Can you?
No.
No?
Pretty much. I'll be honest, Saturday I'm more looking forward to going and doing all Andy's Man Club stuff and concentrating on that, and the game's a bit of a... It's one of those you just hoping we don't get absolutely battered, because it's possible. Live on telly again, it's got the hallmarks of an absolute shower, hasn't it? But
the way they keep the ball and all.
The flip side of that is part of me hopes that the fact that we got absolutely tonked last week might actually work in our favour, and they've done naught but work on that this week and just make it very, very tight. I think I said on that Radio League thing, if a football match breaks out, there's only one winner. They'll murder us. So I think we've got to make it sort of very Brentford-esque, like we played down there, and just scruff it up.
Attritional, and that's why you need your Kachungas and your Grants and what.
Your grafters.
I don't particularly look forward to these games. I find the social media aspect of it incredibly cringeworthy, tedious. I just think their social media aspect is just so tiring and childish. And it's the
I
whole.
must have seen the term dog botherers. God knows how
Not
many
one of
times
them
already
understands the
today.
joke either. It's just such a boring derby because it goes through the same rhetoric every time of rivals, not rivals, blah blah blah, and it's just such a
Cup final.
boring build-up. And to be honest, the games themselves can be quite good. There's been some classics over the last sort of since 2008, since we started playing again after around a 20-year gap really league-wise. There are some good games, but the build-up and the post-match tend to make me switch off, to be honest. So I try and avoid the social media aspect in the week leading up and after. But I think one thing I'm thankful for is if we do lose heavily, at least we got Charlton on Tuesday to try and sweep it under the rug.
See, I don't mind that, Matt, but you need to be armed with some weapons. We need to be armed with something.
They've got
behind
lots
us,
of weapons, don't worry.
Yeah. But the last times we played them, we were doing well. We had some good players. The club were on the up, and you were bullish. So when you're doing these radio stuff like you did today or yesterday, Neil, with the Radio Leeds, you're confident, you're chucking stuff in, you're bolshy, you're getting in there. We've got nothing at the moment apart from Carl and Grant, but he can't do it all on his own. So I disagree. I think it's purely because we're very poor. And I remember that one where I think they played a commentary tonight when Billy Sharp scored 90th minute, dived in the crowd. I don't think Leeds were going up that season anyway, but we were garbage.
I thought that was one of the most tepid derbies I think I've ever seen.
I thought the one where
atmosphere
Lillis took over last game,
Yeah,
wasn't it, before Wagner?
that was
We were garbage that day. Yeah.
And they're
Thankfully, I missed that. I would have had an operation when that game was going on.
Up to
I found out the score when I come round. Yeah.
there's a few of them where it's just been flat, and I think I think at some stage I think Huddersfield fans stopped viewing it as this massive game. We've got Leeds. I think when they first
It's regular, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of the shine's worn off a little.
It's not what they want it to be for us.
No, it's they keep going about cup finals. It's not. It's just.
I'm not so sure, Matt. I just think it's because we've had this dip again. If we'd have kept going that upward curve and Brentford and
I felt
got
this
some
way
more
in
results,
sort of 2014, 2015. I don't. I know we were crap then as well, but I just don't. I don't enjoy this derby. I enjoy the Bradford ones more.
It's an unpleasant hype around this.
Yeah, I just don't.
It excites me. I'll never forget the celebrations after Moy, and I didn't go to the FLA one, but being in Seville, I've never drunk as much after. And the feeling of smugness and arrogance on my social media, it was just beautiful, and you can buzz off it. But this time it's just different because I've mentioned this a few times this season. I thought we were getting about it. I don't think we've got 11 men who represent us.
Not yet.
There's not people who are going to die in the cause. The people in the trenches on Saturday.
Coaching staff on that as well.
I would have you mentioned Matty Daly in the car and all these kind of
Karoma.
They give you a
Karoma
shift.
did well when he came on, starting.
I'd have him over Diakabi at the minute.
I'd have me above Diakabi at the minute.
I was going to ask you if you're playing in that five-a-side thing at half-time. Check you
do,
out
shouldn't
and
I?
throw you on second
I'll
half.
go in goal. They'll say what score, will they?
They've let in 8 goals all season. It's pretty amazing that, innit? Without waxing lyrical too much. I think we've let in more than that in 5.
Yeah,
Preston.
Yeah, they tend not to, up until recently, they've not scored a lot either. It's been low-scoring affairs. But from listening to what they're on about Radio Leeds, it just seems they've perhaps become a bit cuter in terms of what we did in 16-17. We used to get in front and then we used to manage games. So I think the first goal is incredibly important on Saturday. If we concede, we're out. I think we're out
done,
of it.
yeah.
We're done.
What a fork in 'em.
Whereas because I just don't think we'll get the ball off them and they'll manage us out of the game. They're very good at doing that, popping up in areas where we just wouldn't expect them to be. But if we get a lucky break, a deflection, and you never know, things can happen. I just hope we give a good account of ourselves.
The stuff that can have sort of even it out, if you like, is
shithousing.
Yeah, well, Carl and Grant.
He can score from nothing.
Carl and Grant, there's a goal there. I mean, let's be fair, we were awful last week, and all of a sudden he's pulled one out at bag again.
How good were both of those goals though, last week?
Brilliant. But Carl and Grant's he's top class, isn't he? So there's always a little bit of hope there. You want one of those where they hit post 3 times. Keeper has game of his life. We get one, bang, done, and it can happen.
Mm.
That's the hope when you go into games like this. You've got to have some hope, or there's no point going.
2, I do worry, Matt, you touched on it before, discipline. I've just got a feeling we might be too revved up. We've seen this year
or not revved up enough in some cases.
Well, I think we
so
go from
players. I mean, there.
The trouble is, we go from one extreme to the other. The other week we were getting, Fraser Campbell went in hard, and what have you, and stuff. I'm just worried that because there'll be a lot of pressure on this week. They've had the armour. They've no doubt there'll be plenty of social media stuff went to certain players, rightly or wrongly, and what have you. So a lot of them will be fired up. But I just think yeah, you need cool heads in this. I'm a bit worried we could lose us the plot. But the way I see it, we've just got nothing to lose because I just can't match up teams. There's only one winner, surely, but this is football, isn't it? You never know,
This is
man.
probably the most heavily weighted derby in one team's favour in a long
Town
time.
are 5-1 to win this.
At home?
Oh,
Yeah.
that about sums it up, doesn't it?
So, pressure's on them.
All pressure's on them. Literally, all pressure is on them. We've got 3 games this week, and the 2 big ones for us are Charlton and Wigan. We've got to come out of those.
Because Charlton are starting to dip, aren't
Yeah,
they? Yeah.
we've got to come out of those 2.
But-
Minimum 3 points out of those 2.
But Charlton have just been taken over, so they'll be rocking. Their atmosphere will be rocking. They're ready for a good January.
Don't mean to
spend.
say team up picture any
No,
better,
but
though, does it? And
That Duchele's gone, hasn't it? So they're going to be
Well,
buzzing.
I don't know if it's complete yet. Is it complete, that? 'Cause
No,
they're-
but well, as good as, but that they're going to be buzzing. So that Charlton, a lot of their fans are boycotting it. So that you've got to watch out for that. So they're going to be a club on the up in January. It does. Middlesbrough just need to keep Jonathan Mudgate a bit longer. That's all we need, isn't it? Really, it was embarrassing when on Saturday him just like sucking up to Leeds fans. If I were a Borough fan, I'd be wanting him out then, wouldn't it?
He's supposed to be a
this
Borough
club's
fan
ready
as well.
for the up. It's on a real show. I know he's asked a question, but yeah, honestly, embarrassing, man. Take your Leeds out off your Middlesbrough manager. Second question I asked, best and worst personal memories from derbies of the past to get us in the mood, and we're going to read.
I've written some down here, and
out.
because you said derbies, I've kind of included more than one team, so it's not just Leeds in my thing, but I've made a list here.
There's some funny ones in that as well. I'll bring yours in a second, Matt. Graham Rayner, 2008. I can't believe it's that long ago. Andy Oldsworth, 1-0. But it was the 2 snide Leeds fans sat next to me in the Kilner bank until full time when I offered them a friendly handshake and said, "Hard luck, lads." They weren't whiter than white in Leeds home shirts and that as well. 2013 when we won 3-2, sitting in Kilner bank. This is George Strauss. We had a corner. Danny Ward was stood edge of the box and I shouted, "Don't give it to Ward, he's absolutely SHIT." The corner taker thinks it was Hamill, fired it straight to him and then bang volley.
Absolute
back of the
rocket,
net.
that,
Lad in
wasn't it?
front told me to. Unbelievable that as well. Neil, what's yours? I mean, a lot of people mention the Cowley one in 82, but
the Cowley one were brilliant.
were you there?
Yeah. Where were my old man? And
Must have been about
It's one of
5
the-
years old, were you?
9.
Don't they put you in Lowfields in them days?
We were in
inside,
Lowfield,
yeah.
but we had it all. So we had all we were all paddock then. So all paddock up front and then stand behind. And we were in stand. And how it used to be 2 massive windows down either side. So if you got anywhere near them, you couldn't see parts of the pitch. But yeah, Dave Cowley in 62 minutes, bang, have that. And then the one that really stands out for me, being a kid again, was the following year at Christmas Boxing Day we played there. And my dad got tickets for that again, and we actually sat in with Leeds fans in West Stand, and we won 2-1. Colin Russell and Mark Lillis, and we scored, and I just typical kid up I went, and yeah, there were a lot of people around there not particularly happy. And a sign of the times, we actually played the day after at home to Man City, so we played 26th and 27th, so 23,000 something on both as well.
Andrew Brown, worst Boxing Day in 1987. We lost 3-0, I think. On the way out, some Leeds thug snatched my woolly hat, pulled the pom-pom off and gave me it back.
So at least he gave him it back.
Seeds of that. A lot, obviously, of people mentioned the last one with Wagner. Dale Marsden and me agree. I thought the Michael Collins last-minute winner were my ultimate. I'd never seen us win at Ellen Road. That was my first win in the cheese wedge. We were garbage. Went with Jerry Murphy. I remember going there. I think they were top playoff spot at the time and that as well. And Popey, your mate Neil
That horrendous goal
Collins
kick.
turns it in. Yeah.
Like
And then
Pele from Escape to Victory, that goal. Where he
Tim
stood it
Goodwin
up.
throwing his shirt into cheese wedge at end. I remember us being locked in for ages because there was still a lot of animosity after the statue carry on the year before, but that was brilliant. I remember just watching it, and a lot of people, we didn't sell out as end there. I think prices were ridiculous as ever, but just remember seeing that footage and everyone just going crazy on that as well when he got past.
Josh Quirk sent me this on WhatsApp as well. He said favourite moment from his derby game is getting kicked out at Leeds at 1-1, getting a taxi back to Huddersfield with the game on, and then making the driver pull over on the hard shoulder and running up and down the hard shoulder, swinging around when Michael Collins scored the winner. Pozza was in front of me at that game, and I remember him going mental in front of me, and he went bright white. And his hair just seemed to go bright red. And for about 3 years after that, I kept calling him Ronald McDonald because he was the absolute spitting image of him. But
Jamie, 1739's good winning. Best moment by far was my scoring, and my mate ended up on the pitch before twisting his ankle and hobbling off. And I made sure I pulled him back to our seats as he was driving us home. That was funny. I remember that game. There were loads piling on pitch and that as well. I've still got that video from when Moy smashed it in there and that as well. A few people. Sean Makin, Casper Ankergren chasing the town ball boy and going nuts. Can you remember that one? I can't remember that one. No. I think that Ankergren won in the goals, wasn't he, when we did win that?
That may be the Valentine's Day one when Nathan Clark scored.
And that as well. Mark Harrison went to that one with you, Neil, but he went seeing David Callins at Ellen Road and having to pretend to be disappointed because I was in the cop. Scenes. What's yours, Matt? What's your...
Well, it's a derby, so I've got 6, which are my favourite moments. But they're not all Leeds. My favourite one's obviously Sheffield Wednesday on the penalties in the playoffs. Sheffield United at Wembley. Do you remember this one?
Oh, Leeds, mate. Listen,
you didn't specify in
head
the
of
tweet,
Leeds United. Best. It said derbies of the past. Yeah, maybe.
So Grant Johnson's volley in 97-98, if you remember, against Bradford City when they were on the way to promotion, and we pegged them back with a double, and Nico Vasson elbowing. Did he elbow Dean Windass in the goal and then saved his penalty?
Mate, get back on point, Leeds.
My first Leeds one comes in at 4 when we won 4-1 at Elland Road, and David Wagner going mental on the pitch. He pretty much ran to the centre circle and he was going absolutely crazy. And it was just that, and that was the first. I think they'd beaten us 4 times in a row before that.
Yeah.
And it was just becoming a bit of a. They were almost like a bogey side at this point, and we just went there and absolutely pasted them.
I remember that well shot there because it looked like it had gone side netting, and then he's running off like I'll give it big. And
there's a delayed cheer in there, but the double season obviously, and I think one of the good ones.
We were a good side then, weren't we? It wasn't like a derby win against Dollars. We were putting the flag in the sands as if to say we are the West Yorkshire number 1, weren't we then?
Yeah, one of my favourites as well is probably when we first started playing them in the league in 2008, and we got walloped. Well, this isn't one of them, but we got walloped at their place. They were
that the one with a statue carry on.
Yeah, and then John Worthington and the big centre back that they had. He's got kind of like an Eastern European name. Was it Moravchik or something like that?
Yeah.
They had a scrap and they both ended up getting sent off individually at some point. And then Joe Scars, the academy lads, didn't they, who were playing wing back. Scars stood one up to the far post, and Andy Holdsworth headed one in off the post, didn't he? Which was to give us our first win against them for
we're a Tuesday
quite
night,
a long time. Yeah, that was a good one.
Dean Ball mentions it. Worst, scariest, mid to late 80s away. George Courtney was ref and he had his usual nightmare. Glass bottles being lobbed onto the pitch, but landing not far from me on the fence near the front and that as well, because there was some proper aggro and that as well. One time when I lost my, it's bad to say, I think it was Mark Robbins and we were rubbish and we lost 3-0 and it was on Saturday and Lee Peltier, so Leeds were just winding the clock down and we were absolutely spewing out of wind, and Lee Peltier, I can't remember what, but he shook the hand of one of the Leeds players coming off and I went absolutely mental. I probably should have been thrown out. Effing and blinding. We've losing 3-0 at a derby and Lee Peltier, who was our captain, was shaking the hand of a Leeds player coming off. Honestly, that to me just summed up. He should never wear the shirt again. I don't think he did much after, but that I just don't want to see that ever again. We're getting his absolute face of smack there at Ellen Road, and there's our captain shake his hand. I remember going on Twitter and going absolutely mental effing swear. I'm surprised I didn't get banned then, but it's funny how you remember. No, I've not really mentioned the FLA one, but it is. There's always a talking point.
Doesn't need talking about, does it? It is what it is.
Which were the one where Cellino came the night before, Brian McDermott, blah, 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 got sacked.
That one we lost 5-1.
Yeah, it was at the 5-1. Did we take the lead there when Danny Ward scored?
I've got that as my worst one.
Ross McCormack got hat-trick.
Yeah, and we were singing Ross McCormack doesn't want to play because he tried to engineer a move the night before, didn't he?
And then he gets an hat-trick.
And he got an hat-trick and shushed us, didn't he? Which, if you give it, you take it. You know what I mean? Fair play. But I think that one of the worst things for me after was walking, because I lived in Leeds at the time. I still live in Leeds, but living in Leeds at the time, I remember having to walk back by myself, pitch black, through Holbeck, which is rough. And I remember just walking by some Leeds fans and just listening to them, and this is a quote that they said that, and it was just that, do you know what, Barcelona wouldn't have lived with us today. And I was just like, oh, Jesus, if anything summed up what some of them are like, it was just like, oh God, it was an awful game, and to lose 5-1 when they were in complete disarray was dreadful from us, to be fair.
There's always a story. Now, I think that's the only time I've known a team being in total disarray and come up with the goods, so don't be any more negative for Saturday, but pretty much everything else normally goes to form. Obviously, we were doing well in the promotion season. They were toe-to-toe at times, but yeah. But Saturday, I need to snap out of it because at the moment I just...
That Bristol game's not set us up nicely, has it? So the tone of this podcast is probably a little bit
I think the Preston one, and
negative.
then, maybe that would have won off, but the trouble is it's obviously not, and if we'd have won maybe one of the 2 home games, but I don't know, we just hope for good news from the injury, from the casualty ward. Hopefully Danny Simpson can fit. He'd make a huge boost.
If we have Simpson and Campbell, it gives me a lot more hope.
You need senior guys, don't you, in games like this as well. But yeah, it's one of those Town fans. You just need to go in there, get into a bar nice and early, 10 a.m, and drink responsibly.
What about Charlton then? Yeah, they're starting to slide. I think they're 17th now, but there's a bit of a buffer, isn't there, between them and
like I
Bristol?
said, that kind of pending takeover. They get a few more in on Tuesday. They might do something like offer a job and that as well. But we've always done pretty much all right there, haven't we, at Charlton? Bar 1 or 2. I remember John Parkin playing that Monday night when we had them free buses and we lost us a big unbeaten run. But
Unbeaten draw run.
yeah, the thing is, Charlton and Wigan, they're big 4 days out there for us away.
Massive.
One thing that's kind of come up this week, Kosi, I don't know if you've seen it, is a club. Did you used to go watch Sheffield Wednesday a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, when Lee played for him, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of a thing going on at the minute that there's a potential 21-point penalty.
Yeah, they put out a statement tonight, Wednesday, aren't they, fighting it back?
Yeah, which is going to... Obviously, you don't want it to have to come down to that, but that could, and the Derby thing could come into play at some point. Birmingham were deducted 12 points last season, and they're talking about their offence has been more serious than that. So you never know. There could be a couple of other fresh faces.
Yeah, I saw Derby though. There were, just as we were coming here, there's going to be a takeover there as well. That's just about going through. So, but like Neil, they mentioned, didn't they, on your show, that I think all this FFP, that it's definitely evened it all out into a fact that there's not as many kind of big hitters throwing their cash about now because they're screwed, really. I think the EFL finally got on top of it, but although they're contesting it big time out there Wednesday, because it could be some penalty, this.
Do you think it's a good thing, Neil, the financial fair play? Or do you think it just makes it more difficult to bridge the gap between the Premier League and the Championship?
It's not followed by everybody, is it? And there's dodgy ways to get around it, like selling your ground to random companies like Wednesday and Derby have, and etc.
But if they close that, then, well, as they should.
If you know, it's... Does anybody actually know properly what FFP is?
No.
Nobody can.
I couldn't quote you for word.
So
it's something like 18 million losses over 3 years or something like that.
And how can that be right? You know, it's up to businesses what they do business wise, how much you want to lose, how much you want to spend, etc. But if they're going to enforce it, it's got to be done properly. So, and it's got to be made very clear so everybody gets it, and not with these softly approach. I mean, at Derby, I haven't suffered anything, have they?
Not yet, but I don't think have they had the hearing?
I don't know.
To be honest, I'm not paying massive.
It's all a bit.
I'm not paying.
It's all. I mean, how I'm talking about it now, it's just all too foggy, innit?
Yeah,
there's nothing clear.
It just seems there might be penalties or there may not, and it's all a bit. And it kind of feels like they're kind of making it up as they're going along a little bit, doesn't
it's like
it?
VAR, innit? It's a complete bodge.
Because his favourite.
Yeah.
So
it could have been Andy at Preston on Monday, though, couldn't it, lads? What a dive that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a dive.
But the ref, I can't blame the ref again for that because he were well behind it, and it just looked like, from his angle, it looked a penalty, didn't it? And ref lines up alongside. I don't think you can blame anyone for that.
He's running at speed, isn't he? And the keeper comes out, and it's not obvious, is it? If you watch it first time, but second time you watch it with the benefit of a replay, you can kind of see.
What did we do at Preston? They've fallen off a cliff since. Haven't they lost every game since we capitulated against them?
Lulled them in, haven't we, to a false sense of security. But
luckily, Barnsley are absolutely dire, aren't they? I know that new guy's just come in, hasn't he, from Austria. But the good news is for us, I think there's enough rubbish to. Because it worries me at the moment. People say, they'll be comfy mid-table. It's all right talking, but
the thing that'll count for us is the 2 guys that are in charge and January, and that'll sort our season out. I'm not saying we're going to start flying up league, but we've got enough with them 2 running it and with the wind to come to make sure that we're not under the dreaded line at the end.
Yeah, just to wrap up a little bit now, but I was thinking when he came out with that statement, Danny Cowley, I was thinking this might take longer than the 3 windows, to get rid of people. Because to be honest, if you were a prospective buyer of somebody, would you want someone like Congolo?
Don't you think there's probably 2 of them at least already pretty much out at door?
Yeah, I do think that, but
I don't think there's any doubt. I think there's at least 2 of them already gone, and I think the performances show that they know they're already gone. And will it stop prospective buyers? It's football; it never does.
Look at Stoke. I mean, they're not O'Neill. They got beat again on Saturday. I don't think it's just us. I think it's just the horrible reality of Premier League football when you drop out of it, when you've just bought bad players and you're screwed, really, aren't you?
Yeah,
I think it shows a lot for the Burnley model of buying Championship players. So if you do drop, then the idea really is that they don't have a massive sulk about everything, isn't it? So, yeah. But I think the way they go on, and I see quite a little bit of similarities between Danny Cowley and Sean Dyche, not so much in the way that Sean Dyche whinges like a foghorn, but in kind of the way that sometimes the football's set up, especially sort of Burnley, how they kind of away from home, how they set up, and the Cowleys. But I think we're a little bit more expansive.
I still stand by it. We won't go down with these 2 in charge.
No, I don't think so.
I just don't think we will. I can't see it. I can't also see us making a massive surge up table and being, anywhere else above sort of bottom 8 or 9. If I'm being honest.
I think we are where we are. Aren't we?
Let's be honest. If somebody offered you it now, 4th bottom, you're staying up, you'd take the hand off. I would.
You don't want to wish your life away, but to be in August, still in a Championship with a lot of the deadwood gone. The Cowley's got his new guys.
Fresh start. Another transfer window.
Yeah.
This time in August, when we get to August, it could seem a very different place.
I just want to knock a bigger over, and that's starting Saturday, please.
It will.
Thank you.
Kosi, why don't you sing us out for one last go?
Schalke songs and that as well, innit? No, God. I don't know their songs and
sour.
No songs, man. But
there's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.